Hi everyone and welcome to Bonnie Astrology. Today I'm going to be discussing one of the luckiest full moons of 2025, the full moon in Sagittarius happening on the 11th of June, and of course what it means for your zodiac sign. As always, if you do enjoy this video, please give it a like to let me know that you liked it. It really helps the algorithm to help boost my channel. If you want to subscribe for regular astrology horoscopes from me, please feel free to do so. I'd really love to have you here. So I'm going to be going into what this full moon means for us collectively, more generally, the different themes that come up under a full moon in Sagittarius. And then I'm going to go into what it means for your zodiac sign. So if you want to click ahead, the timestamps are listed below. So I'm going to talk about this full moon in Sagittarius. This one is quite exceptional. We've not had a full moon in Sagittarius ruled by an exalted Jupiter in 12 years. So with this full moon, we're going to be noticing that there is a sense of optimism, there's a sense of faith, and a sense of adventure. Full moons in Sagittarius are the perfect time to plan a vacation, to take a vacation, to plan an adventure, and to broaden your horizons and get out of your comfort zone, and especially getting out of your comfort zone because we do have a square. We actually have a grand cross with this full moon and the nodes, and the north node is in Pisces, answering to Jupiter in Cancer, and this full moon is in Sagittarius, also answering to Jupiter in Cancer. It's a time to get out of your comfort zones and seek new horizons. When we have a full moon in Sagittarius, it does bring this sense of adventure, and you might be deciding to plan a trip, to plan a vacation, to study something new, to go back to school. And this full moon, as I mentioned, it is answering to Jupiter in Cancer, and Jupiter will have just entered Cancer, so will be within the first degree, meaning it's very impactful and there's a lot of new horizons and new beginnings. So with the Cancerian energy being quite different to Sagittarius energy, you may find yourself in one of two camps. You may be in the camp of people who is living abroad from your homeland and you may feel homesick, or you may be in the camp of people who has been at home for too long and you may be feeling sick of home. You will be homesick or sick of home. And with Jupiter being in Cancer, the element of family and heritage, ancestry, lineage, that's all highlighted under this full moon. So for some people, this may be a time when you're thinking that you have family living abroad, it's time to go visit. Or you might be having family who lives abroad come visit you. Or you may be planning a family vacation or traveling with your family with this full moon. Or if you live abroad, you may be deciding that it's time to go visit your homeland or explore your ancestry or your lineage, where your ancestors lived. Your family history may be of more interest to you with Jupiter being in Cancer. It will be of more interest to all of us, but this full moon is highlighting higher learning. So you may be studying about your lineage or your ancestry, or as I say, you might actually be planning a trip home, traveling to see somebody, to see family, to see people from the past with Cancer energy, to see your homeland where you grew up in. Or you may be with Jupiter in Cancer, the sun being in Gemini, the full moon being in Sagittarius. You might be learning about your lineage, your ancestry, your homeland, reading about it with the sun being in Gemini or something of that nature, researching it. That can be something that comes up under this full moon as well. So you may find that you're under this full moon, you're wanting to plan an adventure, to take a trip, and Jupiter is the planet of freedom. So for some people, this might be that you're really wanting to travel to places that you've never been. You're wanting to broaden your horizons on what you do at home. So that can be studying from home, working from home, learning something from home. It can actually be expanding the home. But because you have a bigger picture, you have a broader vision, you might be thinking a little bit bigger under this full moon in Sagittarius. And thinking bigger is emphasized by the fact that Mercury is conjunct Jupiter. So thinking big, having big conversations, having big discussions, feeling optimistic about plans, making plans, again with family or with people you consider family. Sometimes we consider the 7th house to be chosen family, but I think with Jupiter being in Cancer, it's expanding and broadening your vision of what, or your definition of what family means to you. But with this full moon Sagittarius, it is a wonderful time to plan something travel-wise or adventure-wise, or even higher learning. Globally, it can bring property matters to the fore. More people may be deciding to buy property abroad, to buy a holiday home. There can be a property boom, property expansion with Jupiter in Cancer. There can also be expansion of families. There can be more babies being born with Jupiter being in Cancer. That is interesting because Pluto is in Aquarius, which tends to represent the opposite. So if there is sort of family expansion and a baby boom with Jupiter being in Cancer, it is likely to be temporary, but it might be something that you notice there's a lot of focus on the family and focus on home and expanding these areas. There's a trine to Mars in Leo with this full moon, which means that you may be excited about making plans, excited about your efforts. Efforts may be paying off under this full moon. There might be some sort of peak, some sort of culmination for the effort that you've been putting in, especially in your Leo house. If you listen to your horoscopes, I'll explain what that is. But the effort that you've been putting in, the bravery, the courage that you've been showing with Mars and Leo, having been in retrograde since December, around the time we had the new moon in Sagittarius, where we were planting the seeds, sowing the seeds for what is to peak under this full moon. So as always, I'm going to pull a tarot card for this full moon in Sagittarius. I really like this full moon. Let me know where it's falling in your chart and how it's manifesting for you. I think because it is answering to Jupiter in Cancer, the sign of its exaltation, rather than the new moon that we had 6 months ago, which was answering to Jupiter in the sign of its detriment. I think this one feels a lot more optimistic. I think you might notice that you feel a bit more hopeful, a bit more expansive. You might be thinking bigger. You might be having very open and enlightening conversations. But let's see what the tarot has to say for this full moon. Six of Cups. This is an interesting one because the Six of Cups is about the past. It's about nostalgia. When we get the Six of Cups in a tarot reading, it typically represents reconnecting to the past. It can be about spending time with family, with loved ones, reconnecting to people from our past. It can be about soulmates. It can be about long lost loves. It can be about nostalgia, memories, sweet memories, and it's very much a family card as well. What's interesting to me about this, and with the sun underneath, which is very happy energy, what's interesting to me about this is that Jupiter, the dispositor of this full moon, is now within the first degree of Cancer, which is about new beginnings, fresh energy. But it's conjunct Mercury. And we often think of Mercury retrograde as being a transit astrologically associated with people from the past. It's about exes, that kind of thing. But in reality, the transit that represents the past in astrology is the South Node. Now we have the South Node going through Virgo, meaning that it is answering to Mercury. Mercury is conjunct the ruler of this full moon. So you may be thinking about the past, you may be feeling nostalgic, you may be connecting with people from the past, you may be connecting with family, reuniting with family, forgiving family. There could be a family reunion. There is this sense of nostalgia, there is this sense of the past, there is this sense of deja vu as well. You might be dreaming of people from the past or just running into them randomly. But because Mercury is the ruler of Virgo and the South Node is Virgo, we can often find that the past comes back in some way, shape or form, especially whenever it's going over a planet or an angle. And this can just simply be in your own head, it can be in your dreams, or it can be in reality. But I think with this full moon being ruled by Jupiter in Cancer, there is an opportunity to talk about days gone by. There is an opportunity to reflect, to enjoy time with family, to spend time with loved ones, and maybe, with the sun, plan that trip, plan that vacation, or have enlightening, open conversations about the past. There really is a sense of days gone by, nostalgia, sweetness, connecting with people that you grew up with. That kind of thing could be happening under this full moon as well. It's very much the reconnection and reconciliation card with people from days gone by. So that is what I have for this full moon in Sagittarius. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aries, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Aries and Aries rising. This full moon for you is happening in a very adventurous part of your chart. It's happening in the 9th house, meaning that at the time of this full moon, you may be going on an adventure, taking a vacation, making travel plans. You might be finding that you're traveling with your family. because the dispositor of this full moon is Jupiter in your fourth house. Some of you may be looking at properties abroad, or some of you may be traveling to see family, or family may be traveling to see you. But I think for a lot of you, you may also be getting this higher vision, this higher ideal that you're aspiring to when it comes to your living situation. Some of you may be seeking a little bit more freedom. Some of you might be seeking a little bit more space when it comes to your living arrangements. So that might be expanding the home, renovating the home. That might be moving. That might be moving abroad for some of you. Or as I say, that might be looking for a property abroad. Or something of that nature. Now, this can also be a time when you're wrapping up some sort of course of study. You may be studying something related to home or family, or you may be studying something to do with your ancestry and your lineage, because Jupiter is now in your fourth house of home, family, and your lineage, your ancestry, and your roots. So some of you could be, combining these themes of home and travel. So traveling to see family, family traveling to see you, or higher education, learning about your home, learning about your ancestry. This might be something that's of more interest to you, Aries, over the next year. And you might be gaining a lot of wisdom about property matters, about home, about renovation, about buying, about selling. You might be learning an awful lot about that different industry, because Jupiter going through the fourth can often be a time when you're very family focused. You're very focused on your home, property matters, buying and selling property, real estate, that type of thing. Aries might be more interesting to you in terms of knowledge and in terms of wisdom. This can also be because this is to do with the law, the ninth house. You could be learning about the legalities of buying and selling a home. That can be one way this is playing out for you as well. It is in this lovely trine, this full moon, to your ruler Mars in your fifth house. So a lot of you could be traveling, and if you're traveling with family, or you're traveling to view a property, or whatever the reason, you might find that it's really good fun. You're inspired to have fun. Maybe you're inspired to spend more time with your children. Mars is your ruler in the fifth house. So you might be more focused on your kids, or you might be getting on much better with the kids in your family if you are all taking a family vacation, or you might just be really much more interested in having a good time, having fun. The fifth house is about joy, it's about excitement, it's about having a good time. And with your ruler there in a lovely trine to this full moon, you may be feeling more inspired to have a good time, Aries. You might just find, though, that if you're having too good a time, you might shock yourself with how much you spend at the same time. So be mindful of that, Aries. So let's get you a tarot card, Aries, and see what this full moon has in store for you. We have the Tower. Lovely. The Tower, actually, in this instance, I think for you, Aries, because this full moon is more harmonious for you, I think it's alluding to that Mars-Uranus square that is coming up. Obviously, your ruler is Mars, and it's in the fifth house of fun and children and creation. That's sort of a place where you're having fun and you're enjoying yourself, but then this square to Uranus in your second comes along, and it's saying that you might surprise yourself by how much you spend, or there might be an unexpected expense when it comes to a child, or when it comes to a hobby of yours. And I think with Jupiter being in the fourth, it's simply saying with this full moon, keep a bigger picture on the foundations that you want to put down and what your priorities are. I think the Tower is recently it's come up for a few people, but I think it's mostly saying to you, as always, be mindful of your foundations with a full moon, and you may find that you're having a change of heart or a change of belief, maybe when it comes to what you were brought up to believe in, or maybe you're sort of undoing a family pattern of beliefs with Jupiter now in the fourth house. Maybe you're seeing something from a different perspective, and it sort of shifts the way that you build foundations for yourself going forward, Aries. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Taurus, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Taurus, this full moon is happening in your 8th house, and this is quite a shadowy house. So this full moon might be illuminating some emotional baggage. Full moons tend to bring emotions to a peak. They tend to stir up emotions within us. This full moon is quite an optimistic one, Taurus, but because it's happening in your 8th house, maybe it is that you're simply gaining a higher perspective on an old issue. You're gaining a higher perspective, maybe you're even getting some knowledge on an issue that has been burdening you, or a feeling that has been burdening you gets released and you start to see things from a different perspective, from a different lens. It may also be that you're sort of seeking adventure in the occult or psychology. You're sort of looking to learn about something that helps you unravel the mind, the spirit. It's sort of that you're delving more into the mysteries of life. That can be one way that a full moon in the 8th plays out. I often see it come up at a time where someone gets quite fixated on learning about psychology, or they get fixated on learning about astrology. The 8th house can be quite obsessive and fixated. It can also be a time when you're maybe fixated on something like true crime, for example. Full moons, they happen once a year. But this one's quite, it's significant in its charge because it's exalted Jupiter that is the dispositor of this full moon. And for you, Taurus, Jupiter is now in your 3rd house, meaning that in terms of learning and in terms of interests, you may find yourself really very interested in taking courses, reading books, listening to podcasts, maybe hosting your own podcast. But basically, when Jupiter goes through the 3rd house, it's as if you can't get enough information. And with this full moon being in the 8th, you may be seeking out information on 8th house topics. So that can be your joint financial resources with a partner, with the government, loans, mortgages, taxes. You might be seeking more information and more knowledge on that. You might be getting a letter or an email or something pertaining to those matters. It can highlight, for example, inheritance or mortgage arrangements. It can also be, as I say, that you're getting more interested maybe in if you're making a significant transformation in your life, a significant change. Taurus, this may be a time when you're getting more information on that. You may find some degree of assistance from a sibling, from a neighbor, from a cousin, or you could be, for example, under this full moon, sorting out your car insurance. Jupiter's now going through your 3rd. Maybe you're getting a new car, maybe you're getting a new vehicle, or maybe you're getting a new gadget. And this full moon is where you're reading through the warranty or the agreement, and you're sort of really interested in where you stand financially. A lot of Taurians tend to be quite interested in finance and learning about it. So this might be applying to you at the time of this full moon, Taurus. Now, the full moon is in your 8th, it's in a trine to Mars in your 4th. So this may be where you're financing some changes in the home, or there's something to do with an inheritance linked to the family, or something of that nature. The family energy comes into it with that trine from Mars in your 4th house. But yes, you're sort of looking for more information, I think, going forward, Taurus, about the occult and about the taboo, and maybe about topics that are ordinarily hard to think about or hard to discuss. They may be coming up for review, and you might find it a little bit easier to find the right guide, the right mentor. Taurus, let's get you a tarot card for this full moon. So for you, we have the 10 of Swords, but it's in reverse. Now, I don't typically deal with reversals, but if it comes out reversed, it comes out for a reason. I think for a lot of you, this full moon could be quite cathartic and quite healing with any transformation that you're making. Maybe, with the full moon in the 8th, you're unraveling some sort of pattern pertaining to home, to family, to history, to your lineage, to your ancestry, just to your past, Taurus. And this could be something that's quite healing and cathartic for you under this full moon. Feel it to heal it may well be your mantra. That is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Gemini, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Gemini, this full moon is highlighting your partnerships and relationships. So simply put, something could be coming up with a partner, something could be coming up with your spouse under this full moon that you need to help them with, assist them with, or you may be contributing to financially, or you may just be showing up for them materially at this time, because the ruler of this full moon, the dispositor of this full moon, is in your 2nd house of value. So you may have something coming up with your partner or your spouse at this time where you need to be available because Jupiter is conjunct your ruler. Other ways that this can play out for you, Gemini, is that if you're single, you may meet somebody under this full moon, and if you meet someone under this full moon, the way that you're assessing the relationship or looking at the relationship is through the lens of values. Does this person have the same values as you? Are they in the same boat as you financially, and how does that or does that not matter? That can be something that you're considering under this full moon. It really brings partnerships and relationships of all kind to the fore though, not necessarily just romantic, but this can be a time where you're really looking at your business relationships and considering how you benefit from those financially, or your relationships in general, how you benefit from them more generally. You know, do you get confidence from them? Do you feel your values are aligned? Do you feel your friendships and relationships are worthy investments where, you know, there's something that you're getting out of them which is worthwhile? And it's not about using people, but, you know, assessing if you're maybe giving more than you're getting back, for example. But I think for a lot of you, this one's really positive. I think with the full moon being in your partnership sector, this is a time where all relationships are sort of looked at through the lens of, how does this person make me feel? How does this person's energy make me feel? How do I feel with or without this person? That kind of thing. Because Jupiter's in the second house now. And that's where you're kind of looking at just generally your self-esteem and your self-worth. It can get a wonderful boost. When Jupiter goes through this sector, you can feel more confident. You can learn to be more confident though with Jupiter. You can feel more optimistic about money. And you can feel with Jupiter very focused on the values that you're spiritually aligned with. And I think because Jupiter rules your relationship sector, it also co-rules your career sector. You're kind of looking at these areas and thinking whether or not you're aligning with people who do share your core values, or whether or not your job shares your core values, or where you get your confidence from, whether it be your relationships or your career, Gemini. There is also a really nice trine to Mars in your third house. At the time of this full moon, the full moon is trining Mars in your third house. So for a lot of you, you and your partner could be going on a short trip, taking a drive, having a nice commute somewhere. Maybe you're going for a short visit to your extended family, or you're going to a party with your neighbors. For a lot of you, this might be a nice time to mingle with a partner, or even a best friend, or a business partner. There might be some significantly active conversations, so where you're making plans to do something or take action, Gemini. Let's get you a tarot card for this full moon. We have the Queen of Wands. Lovely. So a fire sign could be playing a part in your full moon, an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius person, a sun, moon, or rising. This could be somebody that you're socializing with under this full moon. This could be a partner, a significant other, or it could be a potential significant other. Fire signs. If you're single, may be coming around at the time of this full moon, or if your partner is a fire sign, they may be, well, fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, they may be the focus of your full moon. But you may also just be sort of noticing the boost in confidence with Jupiter in your second house. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Cancer, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Cancer, this one's really significant for you because Jupiter, the dispositor of this full moon, is now in your sign, which really puts you front and center at the time of this full moon when it comes to your job. So the full moon is happening in the 6th house. That is to do with the services that you provide to others and the services that others provide to you. So in terms of your job, if you are working, this full moon might highlight how you feel about your job, about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And so for some of you, that might be a job change. And if there is a job change, it may give you some more space, some more independence, some more personal freedom to expand what you like to do, Cancer, or who you are, because Jupiter is in your 1st house. And when Jupiter is in your 1st house, this tends to be a time where you really focus on growing personally, personal development, learning more about yourself, seeking greater wisdom, feeling more optimistic about what you can and cannot do. It can also be where you naturally, whenever we have a planet going through the 1st house, it's quite loud. So you may be taking on more energy of Jupiter. You might feel more optimistic. You might feel more free. You might be more freedom seeking. You might feel a bit more spiritual. And with this full moon, that can apply to your job. So you might be seeking more freedom with the work that you do. Or you might be feeling more confident in how you can do your job. Now, for some of you, this could be very focused on your health. Full moons in the 6th house tend to highlight where we are on within our health physical experience. So for some of you, this could mean there's health results at this time. It could mean that you're changing your workout, your diet. These things can all change under a full moon. With Jupiter being in the 1st house, yes, it tends to be associated with weight gain, but it tends to be associated with the weight gain that we have because we're having a good time, we're traveling, we're in love, there's something about it where we feel good. Sometimes it can also be a pregnancy is the reason for weight gain when Jupiter goes through the 1st, because Jupiter expands what it touches and the 1st house is the physical body. So for a lot of you, it could be that, but you might find under this full moon, you're really wanting to change your routine, change your schedule, focusing on your fitness. It can also be for some of you that maybe there's something coming up with a pet at this time, because the 6th house rules pets. So maybe you're getting a pet, maybe you're having to take your pet to the vet. Sometimes it can be something quite mundane with a full moon. It's not always a life-changing one, but there can be something coming up with a pet at this time for you, Cancer. And I feel like if there is, you seem to have the means to pay for it because of the trine to Mars. But I also think for a lot of you, this could be that you're getting, with Mars being the ruler of your 10th, you're getting a confidence boost with whatever changes you're making work-wise, or you're getting a confidence boost, or maybe even a financial benefit from the changes that are going on work-wise, Cancer. Let's get you a tarot card. Or maybe you're investing some money into your fitness. We have the 2 of Pentacles. A lot of you could be quite busy. Full moons in the 6th do tend to be quite busy. There's a lot we have to fit into our schedule. There's a lot we have to balance. And I think for a lot of you, Cancer, maybe under this full moon, you're looking to seek a little bit more balance between your work life and your downtime. That could be one way that you're trying to figure out this full moon. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Leo, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign, Leo. This full moon is happening in your 5th house, and this is a lovely house to have a full moon. It's very creative, it's very playful, it's very loving. A lot of you with a full moon, because full moons represent peak emotional experiences, under this full moon you could be feeling quite creative, you could be feeling quite inspired, you could be feeling a lot of love, you could be feeling romance. And I think for a lot of you, you could really be finding that love is on your mind with this full moon. But if it's not love, it's creativity, it's the joy of doing something. The dispositor of this full moon is Jupiter in the 12th. So I think for a lot of you, if you have a creative project that you're really buzzing about, you might be spending a lot of time alone doing it, time in isolation doing it. For some of you, you could be spending more time at home with your children. Your children could be bringing you a source of joy, but whatever is joyful with them, they might be wanting to keep it private. So maybe some of you are becoming a grandparent and it's being kept a secret at this point. Or maybe some of you are keeping a pregnancy a secret at this point. Even though it's a full moon, Jupiter in the 12th means that you're kind of keeping these matters to yourself. Maybe that's falling in love as well. Maybe there's a secret element to that. But nevertheless, when Jupiter is in the 12th house, you can really enjoy time spent alone. The 12th house is about healing. So maybe some of you are working on healing your inner child. Maybe that's through art therapy or creativity, or, working with a therapist. With Jupiter going through the 12th house, Jupiter going through the 12th house can be a wonderful time to get the right therapist, because Jupiter rules mentors and it's a benefic. So when it goes through the 12th, you can align with someone who can really help you work with your subconscious mind. And it can be a very spiritual and healing time, but whatever it is, it's bringing you a lot of fun at this time and encouraging you to be playful, Leo. And the full moon's also in this lovely trine to Mars in your 1st house, meaning that you have the energy for fun, you have the energy to run after your kids, you have the energy to enjoy yourself. I will just say with you, Leo, because Mars is in this building square to Uranus in your 10th house, there can be some professional clashes, and maybe this is why you're sort of enjoying your downtime and time away and sort of hanging out with your kids and saying, steering clear of the office. Some of you could be finding that there is a bit of tension work-wise going on for you at this time. I will say that with that Uranus Mars square, you might be, butting heads with someone in a position of authority or someone that you work with. They could be kind of unpredictable and unsurprising. So I would just, if you are feeling like you want to take a couple of days to yourself, some time off, that can be encouraged this time, Leo, because Jupiter going through the 12th can be a really nice time for downtime. Some people take sabbaticals and things when that's happening. And with Uranus in your 12th, you're in your 10th house of your career, you might be finding that you need a little bit more freedom. So maybe some of you are taking a couple of days off work around the time of this full moon to have a good time. Let's get you a tarot card, Leo. You got the Two of Pentacles. Cancer got that as well. So maybe some of you have Cancer and Leo placements. But this is just that busyness of the full moon, balancing your priorities, especially for you, it could be your social calendar and figuring out if you want to go to that event, if you want to take that booking, all that stuff, Leo. Two of Pentacles is usually about balancing and juggling a lot of things at once. That is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Virgo, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Virgo, this full moon is happening in your 4th house, which means that it may be highlighting your home, your living situation, your family, property matters, maybe even your lineage and your ancestry. So under this full moon, it could be that there is a family get together. It could be that there is a family reunion or some sort of housewarming party, some sort of property or living change, maybe for some of you, because the full moon brings with it a sense of home. Now, what's interesting about this one, Virgo, is that it is the dispositor of this full moon is an exalted Jupiter in your 11th house. So I think for a lot of you, if there is something happening with the family, something happening with the home, there may be a materialization of a wish because Jupiter is now going through your sector of wishes. But it can simply be that you're getting a higher perspective on your desired living situation, your desired family scenario, and you might be getting quite clear on what you want for the future there. It can also be, as I say, a very social time with Jupiter going through the 11th house. It can be a time of socialization with families. Say there's a family wedding you're going to, for example. You might meet a lot of interesting people. Jupiter going through the 11th house, it tends to expand your social circle. You can meet a lot of different types of people. Very interesting, very benefic, very beneficial people in your path. So if you're invited to an event, I would say go, Virgo, because Jupiter going through the 11th can bring a lot of opportunities to socialize. And they can really help you out. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And you might be meeting some very interesting people through your family. There is that square, well, there's a grand cross in the mutable signs, which includes the south node in yours. And your ruler Mercury is in a conjunction to Jupiter in your 11th house. So some of you might actually be having to change the way that you do socialize. If you've been sort of in hermit mode, maybe just working, or maybe just all work over the last year, Virgo, you might find under this full moon that you realize, you know what, I actually want to spend a bit more time with my family, or actually I want to spend a bit more time socializing, enjoying myself, networking, that kind of thing. So for a lot of you, there could be, new exciting teammates, new exciting networking events to expand your social circle. It might require you to get out of the house, but for some of you, it might be that you actually, if you're going to a family gathering, you're having a party, it might actually be something that helps connect you with other types of people, Virgo. And I think with the full moon in the 4th, if you're looking to change or renovate your home or update your living space, with Jupiter in the 11th, maybe ask your friends for advice. See what they think. Let's get you a tarot card, Virgo. We have the Ace of Swords. You're getting clarity on what it is that you want home and family wise, Virgo. You're getting clarity on what it is that you need to do. You might be finding that there is some truth or honest conversations coming up with family or pertaining to property matters. And this could sort of clear up maybe some suspicions that you had, or this could clear up some nervousness that you had with Mars going through your 12th house. Maybe you were feeling a little bit suspicious of others, or maybe you felt like there was a secret being kept from you, and this full moon can bring the truth to light, and maybe it's not as bad as you thought. That's what I have for you, Virgo, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Libra, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Libra, this full moon is happening in your third house and it is ruled by an exalted Jupiter in your 10th house. So full moons in the third house can bring to the fore some information. It can manifest as a text message, an email, a phone call, a document, a conversation that potentially for some of you highlights your career or your relationship to your boss or your relationship to a parent in your life, an authority figure. And that is sort of echoed, Libra, by the fact that there is this Jupiter Mercury conjunction in your 10th house. So there could be an important conversation pertaining to your job, to your work, to your career, to your boss at the time of this full moon. So pay attention to your inbox, pay attention to your phone, have it charged. There might be something coming up relating to your work. I do feel with Jupiter going through the 10th house that this can be a positive thing. It can be a positive manifestation. But I will mention also that Jupiter going through the 10th highlights the work that you have done this far. And I think for a lot of you, you have an opportunity, Libra, to really expand and grow through your career and gain some important knowledge and wisdom, or even have a really positive career opportunity or shift. And that is wonderful considering Saturn has been going through your 6th. You know, Saturn will retrograde back into your 6th, but that can sometimes be quite tricky for work. So maybe you've built up some really good habits over the last few years, you know, dedication and discipline. And if you haven't, there's still time. Saturn will come back for you. But with the full moon being in your third house, I think for a lot of you, this is information. Now, this can be that you also, maybe under this full moon, are getting a car, you're getting a gadget, maybe for your work. You know, maybe you're getting a laptop for your job or a phone for your job or something of that nature. But it seems to be bringing information to the fore for you, Libra. This can also be where you're taking a class or a workshop that's going to help you with your job. It can be that you are learning something that you need to know when it comes to advancing in your career. Maybe you're making a list of what you want to achieve in your career, a list of career goals. If it's not a career, it is certainly a goal. Jupiter going through the 10th house, if it's not career that you're after, or not career that you're doing, if that sentence makes any sense, this can be a time when you are really focusing on a key goal for yourself. And Jupiter going through the 10th house can oftentimes bring a bit of notoriety or fame. So you might find yourself being featured in a newspaper or a blog or a YouTube video or something at this time, Libra. So someone might reach out to you and say, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? Or hey, do you want to be in my video? Or, you know, maybe your work is saying, we're doing a training video on this, would you be in it? Or something of that nature. There's a nice trine to Mars in your 11th house, so this can bring an opportunity to network or to talk about the future, to talk about goals with people, particularly that you work with, Libra. Let's get you a tarot card, see what comes up. 9 of Cups, nice. That looks like a wish fulfilled indeed. Something maybe manifesting for you under this full moon, and I think maybe it's like the people that you know can help you with this, Libra, you know, your social network, your team could maybe be rallying with you to help you with something work related or to help you with a course or knowledge or something like that, or you're just finding you've all the right resources. But there may indeed be some sort of positive manifestation. So maybe the news that you receive is something that you really want, Libra. That is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. Sagittarius, this is your annual full moon, putting you very firmly in the spotlight. And this one for you is quite exciting because it is ruled by an exalted Jupiter. Jupiter is your chart ruler, and you'll notice the difference when Jupiter is going through a sign of exaltation rather than a sign of detriment more than most people, because it is your ruling planet. So a full moon in the first house, this is the physical body, this is your image, this is your aesthetic. And Jupiter, the dispositor, your chart ruler, is in the 8th house now, meaning that for a lot of you, you could be going through a significant transformation physically. So you could be making some sort of significant change to your aesthetic, to your wardrobe, to your style, to your body. You could also be showing up to the world a little differently. Your approach to life might be a little bit differently with Jupiter now in Cancer. Maybe you're more family focused. or maybe you're more focused on being more vulnerable with others. You know, Jupiter's in the 8th house, which is to do with intimacy. So you're wanting to connect to others more deeply, especially because Jupiter is conjunct Mercury, the ruler of your partnerships. Now, speaking of partnerships, you might be finding under this full moon you're benefiting through your partner's resources. Maybe they're getting a raise, maybe they're getting a bonus, maybe there's an inheritance. That could be the case whether you're partnered or not. Maybe you're getting a grant, a loan, a mortgage. With Jupiter going through the 8th house now, you're more attractive to, you're more of a magnet rather to other people's resources. So other people want to give you things. You know, they want to leave you something in their will. They want to donate their furniture to you. They want to grant you that loan. They want to grant you that mortgage. It's easier for you to benefit through other people and what they have, Sagittarius. I also think with Jupiter going through a sector of transformation for you, the shadow work that you do might be showing up on your skin. The shadow work that you do might be showing up for you physically. You know, the shadow work that we do can change our aura, our energy, how we look. And people might comment and say, hey, you look really good. And you're thinking, thank you. It's because I have been crying buckets in therapy. And you maybe worked through some stuff, or you're working through some stuff, and you're finding that as you transform on the inside, it changes you positively on the outside too, Sagittarius. So there could be some significant changes going on for you at this time physically with your image. Your image may be changing quite a bit. Your aesthetic may be changing quite a bit. And for a lot of you with Jupiter going through the sign of Cancer, maybe that is that you're, you know, wearing pearls, or you're wearing more white or off-white or something like that. Maybe your style is becoming a bit more moon focused, as Cancer is ruled by the moon. Now the full moon is in a lovely trine to Mars, and that trine is happening in your 9th house. So some of you might be feeling really motivated to take a solo trip, or to study something, learn something, really enrich yourself, really enrich your mind. Sagittarius, you could be feeling very adventurous as well at this time. So this full moon is looking quite a lovely one for you. I think it's quite exciting that, you know, now we have Jupiter, your ruler, in an exalted sign. The 8th house doesn't appeal to everybody as a house in astrology, but for you, I think it's about benefiting personally through other people and what they want to give you, how they want to help you, and making positive transformations. I do think for some of you, you could be going through some sort of physical change at this time, maybe because you found the right practitioner with Jupiter going through the 8th or something like that. I'm going to get you a tarot card, Sagittarius. Let's see what comes up for you. Oh, we have the Page of Cups. Lovely. It's quite a sweet card. Yes, I think for a lot of you with your chart ruler now in Cancer, some of you could be embracing a little bit more of a Cancerian energy. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more open, a little bit more emotionally sentimental. And maybe under this full moon, you're having some heart-to-hearts, you know, with Mercury and Jupiter conjunct, some heart-to-hearts with someone else in your life, Sagittarius. And it may also be that somebody has a crush on you with the Page of Cups as well. With this full moon being in this grand mutable cross, with the North Node in your family sector and the South Node in your career sector, some of you may be focusing at this time on your family and maybe moving away from an old goal of yours, or career-wise, you might be shifting your perspective away from that towards connecting more with your home and your family, and just generally connecting with those that you feel closest to, Sagittarius. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Capricorn, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Capricorn, this full moon is happening in a very private part of your chart. It's going to be occurring in your 12th house. Now the 12th house is about your subconscious mind. So this can be where our dreams are very vivid and very active. This can be a time of going inward, retreating, reflecting, and really focusing on your privacy. When there's a full moon in the 12th house, it does bring this illumination of the subconscious. So you may have a very symbolic, a very vivid dream that maybe reveals something to you. Now this could be about a relationship, Capricorn. So the dispositor of this full moon is Jupiter. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and Jupiter is now in your 7th house of partnerships and relationships, meaning that over the next year, this is going to be a really positive sector for you. So your relationship to your significant other, to your spouse, if you're single looking for a significant other or a spouse, this is a really positive year for all things partnerships and relationships. Even if you were to leave a relationship at this time, you would feel optimistic about it and like it was for the best, with Jupiter going through the 7th house. And if you leave one, it's more so because you want some freedom, with Jupiter going through your sector of relationships and marriage. Maybe you just need a little bit more freedom. One key way of dealing with this, if you do feel like you need freedom, is to travel with a partner, to take more vacations, to go abroad. Might be a really fun way to bring the spark back. But Capricorn, this full moon is happening in a very private sector. So I think for a lot of you, if you're single, with that subconscious energy going on, maybe you actually have a dream of your future spouse, or you have a dream about your future relationship. So try and note your dreams down, because sometimes they really do make sense in hindsight. For some of you, you may find that you're doing a retreat with a partner. You're wanting to spend some time alone with a partner. Maybe you're going on a retreat or taking a vacation together, going to a spa together. Or it can also be that maybe you're needing some alone time more generally, Capricorn, from your partner. Maybe you've been spending a lot of time together and you need a moment of rest to yourself. But I think for a lot of you, it could be traveling with a partner, or if you're single, maybe you have a new relationship starting off that you want to keep private, or you're considering, how your subconscious mind affects your relationships. Maybe that's what's being illuminated to you at this time. Maybe you're figuring something out in terms of how you self-sabotage when it comes to partnerships, or secrets that you've been keeping from a partner, or they've been keeping from you. Not all secrets are ill-intended. It can be that maybe they just haven't been telling you something that they've planned, or something like that. But this full moon is in a nice trine to Mars in your 8th house as well. So I do think for a lot of you, from a spiritual or a healing perspective, you may be noticing with Mars going through the 8th house that you're really challenging yourself when it comes to shadow work, and you're noticing this pays off to your advantage, Capricorn. Or you might be finding that you've been doing the tough inner work, and you feel with this full moon that you can see the benefit of it in terms of how you're connecting with other people. Maybe you're doing the shadow work and you find it's bringing you closer to others with this full moon. But I do think for a lot of you, full moons in the 12th house can be when you're really, things can be busy with work, things can be busy with your job. You could have been really focusing on exercise, fitness, and diet, and the full moon comes around and says, hey, can you take a couple of days off? I'm giving you a cold, or you're not feeling so well, or something like that. You could be needing to retreat and rest for a little bit. With a full moon in the 12th, that can be quite common. Your tarot card, Capricorn, is the Knight of Cups, which is really romantic. And the stars at the bottom of the deck. So some of you could have a romantic interest coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's quite exciting. There could be a romantic proposal. There could be an engagement. There could be a new love interest. The love spell that you bought on Etsy could start paying off. It feels like there's some sort of wish fulfilled for a lot of you in your love life, whether you're single or not. This could be a romantic surprise from a partner, or this could be a secret admirer, or this could be a date coming up that's very exciting, Capricorn. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Aquarius, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your 11th house, meaning that what is highlighted this time is your social circle, your friendships, your social networks, your teams. They're all highlighted under this full moon. So you may be getting together with friends, you may be joining a team, there may be a change in your team, maybe somebody's leaving a team. Maybe there is a friend reunion, maybe there is a social networking event, and perhaps also you're getting involved in something charitable under this full moon. Now, the dispositor of this full moon is Jupiter, which is now in your 6th house. So Jupiter going through the 6th house is going to expand your job, your services. You can get on really well with your co-workers, your employees. You can really like the place that you work. So maybe you're mingling or socializing with your co-workers through your job, you're networking through your job. Maybe some of you are networking or connecting with people through your gym, through, you know, clubs that you're a part of that are related to health and fitness. Maybe Jupiter going through the 6th house tends to bring a lot of benefits when it comes to your job, your working relationships, but also your health. So if you got a personal trainer at this time, if you got a nutritionalist, if you joined a club, like a running club or a gym, you might find that you really benefit socially from these places. And you can get on really well with the people that you meet there and learn a lot from them. So for a lot of you, maybe there is some sort of get together or social event that is related to health and fitness for you, or related to your job, Aquarius. Or you're just connecting with your friends more. There's a really nice trine from Mars in your 7th house of relationships. So one relationship in particular for you may be really positive and highlighted under this full moon. And you know, someone could really be showing up for you as a friend at this time when you need them, maybe to help you with something, maybe to help you action something, with Mars being in the 7th house. Or if there's been tension, you might find that it is starting to subside with that full moon. But this is a really friendly one for you. And it might also be with the 11th house that you're maybe reconsidering your wishes and your hopes and your aspirations for the future when it comes to your job, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your fitness. You could be realizing a goal at this time, or there could be a spark of a new one with the full moon. You know, the full moons reveal our feelings. So you might be realizing what you want, what you wish for when it comes to your job, when it comes to your health, when it comes to the work that you do, Aquarius. Let's get you a tarot card for this full moon. See what comes up. We have the Emperor. So some of you could be achieving a significant goal or a milestone at this time, but there could be an Aries sun, moon, or rising factoring into your life, or there could be some prominence in your career. You know, maybe it is for you, Aquarius, that there is someone who is taking precedence at your career, or someone who's really helping you get order, get structure. The Emperor tends to be an authority figure or a parent or a boss or someone who's very much large and in charge. So someone like that could be factoring into this full moon. Maybe you're making friends with this person. Maybe this is a sign that you are networking through your job as well, Aquarius. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Pisces, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. So Pisces, this full moon is happening in a very public sector for you. It's happening in the 10th house, meaning that your career is brought to the fore, meaning that you are quite public at this time. You're quite visible at this time. So there could be a career change going on for you. There could be something that you're putting out to the world at the time of this full moon, something you're putting out publicly. Now, because the dispositor is Jupiter in your 5th house, you could be debuting a new romance to the world. You could be hard launching on Instagram. You could be debuting a pregnancy announcement, debuting something that your kid did that was wonderful, that was exciting, that was an accomplishment. Or you could be debuting your creativity, your art, your passion project, a hobby. You could be making these matters more public at this time. This can also be that maybe you're having a fun get together at work. It can also be that you're finding love at work. There can be a workplace romance blossoming at the time of this full moon. But I think for a lot of you, when it comes to your career, whatever's coming up, whether it be a job change, a promotion, I think a lot of you are really considering how much fun you're having, or how creative you get to be, or how much joy that it's bringing you. You know, over the next year with Jupiter, the ruler of your 10th going through the 5th, you're very inspired to be creative. You have very creative solutions. You have hobbies that you want to put out to the world. You're having more fun at work, and maybe even having romance at work with Jupiter in the 5th house. You're likely to have a lot more romantic options, and maybe some of them could be, you know, people that you meet through the workplace, or people that have some degree of prominence, Pisces. There's a nice trine with this full moon to Mars in your 6th house, which means that you feel the hard work you've been doing at your job is paying off, maybe quite literally, because Mars rules your money. But the thing that about the thing the thing about this that's quite challenging for you Pisces is that the full moon forms this grand cross with your sign, Virgo, and Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, the North Node is in your sign, which is part of this grand cross. And that means that growth and development and independence with your career is quite daunting and quite challenging, but it's the direction you're going. You know, you're getting out of your comfort zone. This might also be with the South Node being in your relationship sector, that this is changing the way that you're relating to other people, or you're having to change the way that you relate to other people, or maybe, you know, through your job or through your public persona, you're reconnecting with people, you know, from the past with the South Node there. But I think for a lot of you Pisces, this full moon is really highlighting your making your joy, your happiness, what you take pleasure in, making it public, and also showing up career-wise at this time too, being more visible. Yeah, we have the Three of Pentacles. For you Pisces, this is about collaborating with other people. Maybe you're meeting some new connections through your job. Maybe you're getting assistance and help through people at your job, helpful people that want to support you. You know, that could be part of the South Node in the seventh story. Connections in your life that want to support you and help you grow. So you might be finding under this full moon that if you ask for it, there are people who want to help. That's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Scorpio, welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius horoscope for your sign. Scorpio, you might wonder why your horoscope is at the very end of all the signs. I realized whenever I was editing the video that yours had somehow been deleted, so sorry for the strange order mix-up, but wouldn't forget you, Scorpio. So Scorpio, this full moon is happening in your second house, meaning that it is highlighting your money. So you might find under this full moon that you are being paid for something, or you are spending money on something. Now, the dispositor of this full moon, your second house ruler Jupiter, you'll be grateful to know, is in the sign of its exaltation, which is really positive. So Jupiter is now going through Cancer, that is your ninth house, meaning that if you're spending money at the time of this full moon, or you're thinking of making a big purchase, it could be to do with travel. This could be payments coming out for a vacation, payment that you're spending on travel, payment that you're spending on your dream holiday. This can also be that you're putting money toward your education or investing in your education, as Jupiter is going through your sector of higher education, you know, college, university, degrees, diplomas, that type of thing. So some of you might be deciding you want to work towards that and you're putting money into it, or some of you might be wanting to travel more and putting your money into that as well. Some of you could be making money through traveling, or you could even be making money through your education, you know, teaching courses, or you could be getting a university grant or a bursary or something like that to further your education. Money in your education may be tied under this full moon. So this can also be where maybe you are developing a sense of greater self-confidence because of your education or what you're learning or your wisdom. You know, you might be appreciated for your wisdom. Maybe publicly, because this full moon is in a trine to Mars in your 10th house of public reputation and your career. So I could see some Scorpio risings maybe being, you know, having a financial improvement through their job, or having their job support them with higher education or travel. I think with Mars going through the 10th house, a lot of the hard work that you've been putting into your job and into your career, the hard effort is paying off under this full moon. Maybe literally, maybe it's getting you a pay rise, maybe it's getting you a promotion, maybe it's getting you some sort of gift or some sort of reward. You could be receiving a gift for a job well done, and this could be something that makes you feel really proud, Scorpio. It can also be that maybe you have a goal that you're working on and it's giving you a sense of purpose and a sense of self-confidence and really increasing your worth, and maybe you're seeing your financial situation from a higher perspective, or you're learning more about money, or you're learning more about how to expand and grow your money, you know, as Jupiter is the planet that rules your second house of income, Scorpio. Let's get you a tarot card for this full moon. See what comes up. You have the King of Swords. So this can be an Aquarius, a Libra, or a Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising person. I noticed the Fool was at the bottom of the deck, so emphasis on Aquarius people, but this can be somebody who's really helping you get the information that you need. This can also be where maybe you are following your head rather than your heart on a matter, and you're getting the right information that you need, the knowledge that you need. Jupiter going through the ninth is wonderful for acquiring knowledge and information. It's like you can't get enough. So you might be encountering mentors or guides on your journey who are very knowledgeable and who can help you on your path, Scorpio. That is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon.